Coming up, former Los Angeles Dodger manager Tommy Lasorda joins a new team with a new mission.
A gardening community that makes people feel well-rooted.
And a new procedure that's knocking kidney stones down to size. All this and more is next on Time for Living. And welcome to Time for Living. I'm Howard Dielson.
And I'm Janet Jagalian.
In today's show, we'll sit down with Hall of Famer and former Los Angeles Dodgers manager Tommy Lasorda to talk about his new team and the fight against high cholesterol.
And we'll find out how a garden can make a whole community feel well-rooted and flourish at the same time.
And, of course, we'll be traveling around to this week's travel destination. Hear from Steve Burke about new retirement products. And Dr. Abrams will address hypertension in this week's Medical Minute. We begin with our lead story and the new focus of Tommy Lasorda. He's called baseball's #1 ambassador and the man who bleeds Dodger blue. And on March 5th, a new description was added to the list, Hall of Famer. On that day, Tommy Lasorda became only the 14th manager elected to baseball's hallowed Hall of Fame. Simultaneously, the Los Angeles Dodgers retired his uniform, #2, joining other Dodger greats such as Jackie Robinson, Duke Snider, and Sandy Koufax.
And now Tommy Lasorda has taken on a new role, spokesman for the American Heart Association with the help of Merck & Company, a pharmaceutical firm. That's because the 69-year-old Lasorda recently recovered from a heart attack. His story illustrates the value of a healthy diet, exercise, and when necessary, cholesterol-lowering treatment.
After 47 years in baseball, former Los Angeles Dodger manager Tommy Lasorda is leading a new team. Following Lasorda's heart attack on June 26, 1996, he was motivated to develop a treatment program with his doctor to lower his risk of another heart attack. Since then, Lasorda has lost 25 pounds by following a low-fat diet and an exercise program. But the 69-year-old Lasorda says family was the real motivator.
You know, after I had my heart attack, I had to make a very, very difficult decision on whether I was going to continue managing the Dodgers or not. And then I thought about my family. I thought about my health. And I said, I'm going to give up something that I love very dearly for something that I love even more dearly, and that is my family.
Lasorda's new team members are the American Heart Association and Merck, a developer of cardiovascular medicines. The team has created Covering the Bases, a winning game plan for surviving high cholesterol. This is a national public education campaign designed to help Americans survive high cholesterol and heart disease. High cholesterol is a major risk factor for coronary heart disease and contributes to 1.5 million heart attacks, killing 500,000 Americans every year, more than any other single cause of death, including any form of cancer. However, treatment of high cholesterol can lower the risks.
Our medical research has shown that elevated serum cholesterol levels are a major risk factor for the development of coronary heart disease. Consequently, we know that aggressive treatment of elevated serum cholesterol level can help to reduce the incidence or progression of coronary heart disease.
It is the treatment and maintenance information regarding high cholesterol that Lasorda's team is trying to share with the public. The Hall of Fame inductee's heart attack and enthusiasm certainly make him an appropriate spokesman.
I do my exercises. I try to get as much sleep as I can, and I'm eating so much differently now than before. And believe me, I feel outstanding. And I had my cholesterol checked the other day, and it has really dropped.
Another one of the messages Covering the Bases is delivering is the importance of the relationship between the patient and the doctor.
The medications, everything's working great.
My advice to people who have had heart disease is to develop a working plan with your doctor in order to lower your cholesterol and take care of your heart.
Our job as physicians is to work in partnership with our patients to see that therapy is appropriate. We believe that less than 30% of patients, despite this knowledge, are being treated adequately with medications to lower serum cholesterol levels.
According to the American Heart Association, there are 3 primary ways to fight high cholesterol. The first is through diet, to lower your LDL or bad cholesterol. The second is exercise, which raises your HDL or good cholesterol. And the third is medication, used only when appropriate. To get your free copy of Tommy Lasorda's winning game plan for surviving high cholesterol, you can call 1-800-568-LIFE. That's 1-800-568-LIFE.
When we come back, Tommy Lasorda sits down with Jean Hartigan to discuss Lasorda's passionate mission and new teammates. Stay with us.
Talking about Tommy Lasorda's new team that's working to educate people about the high risk of high cholesterol.
And a couple of weeks ago, Tommy Lasorda stopped in Boston to spread the word about cholesterol. And during his visit, our executive producer, Jean Hartigan, had the opportunity to talk with Tommy about his latest mission.
Well, Tommy, you've done an awful lot in your time. You're Mr. Baseball. Everybody loves you. You're a Hall of Famer. But now you're on a whole new course, a whole new team. And tell me a little bit, why is it so important to be out here spreading this message?
Well, when the American Heart Association approached me, Gene, about being the spokesman, they've never had a spokesman for them. And I accepted it with great honor, because I felt that maybe I can do something in this country to help other people. Maybe I can say something that will inspire people to realize that my message is, let's start taking better care of our health. You know, I was the kind of guy that never even thought about my health. I just took everything for granted. I just thought I was indestructible. I never was sick. And then all of a sudden, here I am, the doctor's telling me that I've had a heart attack. What a shock that was to me. I felt like, maybe I've given heart attacks, but I didn't think I'd ever get one. But I found out that it could happen to anybody. So now what I've done since I got out of the hospital, I've put myself on a different eating order, and I feel so much better. No, I've got the opportunity to go around and tell people, hey, don't do as I did. Do as what I'm saying now. I'm trying to make them understand how important it is for them to go get a checkup, find out what their health status is. Find out, because there are too many people who are walking the streets of this country, Gene, who are, number one, they're overweight, number two, they have high blood pressure, number three, they got high cholesterol, and number four, they smoke. Those are the four main killers in this country. So I'm hoping that they will understand what I'm trying to tell them. I accepted this role as spokesman for the American Heart Association, and little did I realize at the time what a tremendous organization it is. So in conjunction with Merck, they put on this project to where we're going all over the country trying to educate people to treat themselves and their health better than they normally do.
Were you a little scared when this all happened?
Oh, scared to death, because if you have a pain in your leg or pain in your arm, you know where it is and what's going to happen to it. But when you're talking about here, you don't know what it's like. They used to tell me that your heart is like the tire on a car. You can feel it and feel the rubber, and yet drive down the street and it would blow out on you. Nobody knows. So consequently, what I'm trying to do is to educate the people. When I came out of the hospital last July, I said to my cardiologist, this guy I have a great respect for, admiration, and appreciation. And I said to him, Doctor, what do I have to do to not come back here? Because I was scared. He said to me, Tommy, number one, keep your weight down. Number two, take your medication. Number three, change your eating habits. Number four, exercise. Number five, get your rest.
So tell me a little about the exercise regimen you go through. What's your day look like when you get up?
Well, when I get up, if I usually have to go somewhere. I'm usually doing something, but I try to, as much as I can, to either swim or ride the bicycle. I can't jog anymore. I can't walk anymore because I got two bad knees, and I'm going to have them taken care of after the season. But I have to exercise. This guy, like a guy, he'll jog 3 miles, and then on the way back he'll stop and get a big hamburger. Well, that's not good. It's got to be a combination of them all. You remember Jim Fix, the runner? Yeah. Gene, this guy probably ran more miles than you and I have on our car. But you know what? He died at the age of 50, just dropped over and died because he had high cholesterol. The American Heart Association, in conjunction with Merck, are nice enough to put out this brochure. It's called Tommy Lasorda's Winning Game Plan. And it tells you step by step how to combat high cholesterol. Now, since I have been the spokesman, there have been over 50,000 people who have called for this brochure. It's free of charge. Nope, you don't have to pay for it. But by golly, you've got to call and get it. It's an 800 number, and it's 568-LIFE, L-I-F-E. And it may be the most important phone call somebody will make.
So if someone's in their 50s or 60s, it's important to get worried about this, or maybe a little younger?
No, they better start thinking about it now, anybody, because it can happen to anybody. Nobody knows. So what we need to do is prepare ourselves. I've seen this happen now, and it could very easily have happened to me. When I got out of the hospital 2 or 3 months afterwards, Gene, I felt great. And I can see what happens to thousands and thousands of people in this country who have had heart problems. They go back to their old way of living because they feel good, and that's the mistake they make, because it was that way that got them into the hospital. But I'm not going to do that. I feel great, but it's because I am taking better care of myself. When I went to the hospital, my cholesterol was 258. It's down to 150 now through medication and eating properly. What I did since I got out of the hospital July a year ago, I changed my eating habits, and now all I have eaten since then is fruit, vegetables, and pasta. And that's what I eat. I feel great. And I'm trying to tell the people, my message is, wake up, America. Let's start taking better care of yourself. Go get a checkup.
Well, finally, to those people who have a hard time disciplining themselves to get this job done, to stay, fit and trim, to get up and do that exercise in the morning, what's your secret? How are you doing it? What words of advice can you give those people?
Well, I'm doing it because my health is involved, and my health means a great deal to me. I looked at my granddaughter, I looked at my daughter, my son-in-law, my wife, and I said, hey, I don't want to die. I want to be with these people. I want to see my granddaughter grow up. So I made up my mind that this is the best thing for me. And I say this to whoever is watching this show, Gene, to go get a checkup. Find out what your health status is. If your health is okay, then fine. If it isn't, then do something about it. And through the medication that we have today, and they have made great strides, is that they've got great medicines for high blood pressure. They got great medicines for high cholesterol. And this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to make these people understand that they must go get a checkup. Let me ask you a question. When's the last time you had a checkup?
I have them every 6 months because I have high blood pressure and I'm on medicine, and that's why I have to watch my weight and my diet, and I'm approaching that magic 50, so I'm even more conscious of it and more concerned.
There you go. Now, what advice would you give to the people who are watching this show?
To listen to you and listen to that number one more time, so why don't you give it to us again?
It's 800-568-LIFE, L-I-F-E. Make this call. Try to do everything you can to make sure you don't have high cholesterol, you don't have high blood pressure. And the people who are smoking, let me give you this advice. I remember when, over 30 years ago, when the Surgeon General came out on television for the first time and said cigarettes were hazardous to your health, okay? That was the first time anybody specifically stated. We didn't think that cigarettes were hazardous to our health in those days. I'm talking about 35 years ago. Yep. So I said, wait a minute. Why am I smoking if this is hazardous to my health? And I said, I will never, ever smoke another cigarette. I carried a package of cigarettes in my pocket, and I'll tell you the brand. I can still remember it, with a package of Larks. Somebody gave me a carton of Larks. I had a package in my pocket, and every time I wanted a cigarette, I carried that package for 3 weeks. And every time I wanted a cigarette, I pulled that pack out and I said, who's stronger, me or you? And I looked at that cigarette and that pack. And the answer was always me, and I never smoked another cigarette.
Good advice.
And now, why would I want to do something that's deliberately harmful to me? Now, there's a lot of people that take better care of their cars than they do of themselves. A lot of people take better care of their pets than they do of themselves. So why? I'm taking all this time to travel all over the country that I could be with my family, Gene. Why am I doing this? Because I feel that having gone through this, that I can educate the people in this country on doing what I am trying to convince them to do. I have found out in all these cities that I have appeared with a cardiologist that heart attacks can be prevented. And if we do something about it, then we will cut down the statistics of how many people are going to get heart attacks in this country.
Well, continue good health.
And you too, Gene.
Thank you.
I'm listening. What you're doing.
I hear that message, and I hope everyone else listens to you. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
Okay.
That was Gene Hartigan and Tommy Lasorda. That phone number again is 1-800-568-LIFE. Call for a free copy of Tommy Lasorda's winning game plan for surviving high cholesterol.
When Time for Living continues, a community making the garden a place of belonging in this week's Second Effort Salute, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Time for Living. When older people move to retirement communities, oftentimes they must leave behind much of what they know and love.
And in today's Second Effort Salute, we feature one retirement center that's making an effort to help the residents feel more at home. Jim Harriet has the story.
I thought I was going to be doing this at 84.
They could have had individual gardens, but the residents at the Redwoods Retirement Center near San Francisco love working in their community garden.
A lot of us who left homes and had gardens have missed them, you know. And this is a very nice substitute.
It started with an anonymous donation to beautify the grounds at Redwoods. Now residents grow flowers and vegetables, everything from corn to lettuce to herbs.
Yeah, that's enough chives, though, I think, for...
Oh, yes, I'm sure.
The garden was designed specifically for seniors. It's wheelchair accessible. The borders of the flower beds are wide, so residents can rest while gardening.
The tools are scaled down. They're smaller, they're lightweight. Most of the trowels and the clippers have plastic handles, which keep the tool lighter.
Residents say they find the garden a source of real joy.
Especially the beans. And if I find one, I get to eat it. And it's delicious. You wouldn't believe how good it is.
This has been a godsend for this place. Just great.
These are peppers. We've got 4 different kinds. This is a golden...
Chris Chater, the garden's director, says she sees the garden as a national model.
Residents come here to work in the garden and then say to me how better they feel after they've worked in the garden. And they don't know why, but I think it's because they're becoming grounded again with Mother Nature.
Come harvest time, you can see the results of all the hard work.
Look at that.
Oh, terrific.
But mostly on the faces of the residents. I'm Jim Harriet reporting.
If you know somebody who deserves a Second Effort Salute, then please tell us about them. You can write to Time for Living, care of Second Effort Salute, P.O. Box 8452, Boston, Massachusetts, 02114.
Or you can call us at 800-232-7213 and leave the information on our voicemail. You can also fax us at 617-329-1774.
When Time for Living continues, we'll revisit a traveling around destination that deserves another look. We'll take you there when we come back. Welcome back to Time for Living. During our traveling around segments, we take you on trips to places you may have already been to or places you're thinking about going to in the future. During these journeys, our goal is to show you all the great aspects of these places before you take your trip.
In the past, we've taken you north of the border to Canada, to the beautiful city of Toronto. For those of you who missed that trip, we decided to visit Toronto once again and give you a chance to see what this neighboring city has to offer. Our tour guide for today's Traveling Around destination is once again Rex Traylor.
Located just an hour's drive from Niagara Falls, Toronto is one of North America's great cities. Begin your visit with a shopping expedition at the Eaton Centre. It's one of the most spectacular enclosed central city shopping complexes. Inside, you'll find fountains, trees, gardens, and benches, not to mention many shops and restaurants. Outside Eaton Centre is Yonge Street. Running from the waterfront north to the suburbs, Yonge is the world's longest street. You may not want to walk it from one end to the other, but visit some of its exciting stores. At night, the neon displays rival that of New York's Times Square. Not far from Yonge Street is Nathan Phillips Square and Toronto City Hall. The two curved office towers surround the saucer-shaped City Council building. Outside, you'll find a fine Henry Moore sculpture and a reflecting pool that becomes an ice rink in the winter. Have a taste for ethnic food? Then Kensington Market is the place for you. Here you'll find Polish, Greek, Italian, Jewish, Portuguese, Jamaican, and German cuisine, just to name a few. It's the crossroads of the world. The best time to visit, Friday afternoons, evenings, and Saturday morning. Not far from the Kensington Market is Toronto's Chinatown. Here you'll find dozens of Chinese restaurants, grocery stores, and curio shops. New York may have its Greenwich Village, but Toronto has the village of Yorkville. Yorkville was a rundown section of town, but in the last 30 years, the village was restored, and now you'll find plenty of fine boutiques, restaurants, and art galleries. You may be surprised to find this sort of building in Toronto. The Casa Loma was built in 1914 at the cost of $3 million. The medieval-style castle has 98 rooms, towers, turrets, and secret passageways. It's open to the public throughout the year. For a bit of history, stop by historic Fort York, made up of blockhouses and ramparts dating from the War of 1812. A great place to take pictures. In the summer, the 8th King's Regiment, complete with 19th century uniforms, perform infantry drills and artillery salutes. Looking for something a bit more modern? Pay a visit to the CN Tower. At 1,815 feet high, the CN Tower is the world's tallest freestanding structure. It's the best place for breathtaking views of the city. One of those views is into the adjacent Sky Dome, with its retractable roof. You'll love the huge sculptures of rowdy fans. The Sky Dome is the home to the Toronto Blue Jays. We finish our visit to Toronto with a stop at the city's harbor front. Located on Lake Ontario, Toronto is one of the Great Lakes' largest ports. Safe, clean, and full of excitement. Toronto, today's traveling around destination.
We now take another trip to two places that remind us of our past as well as our present. Our second destination on today's Traveling Around are Greece and Turkey.
The images of classical Greece are legendary, as are the works of Homer, Plato, and Sophocles. This is where the first Olympians competed, and where the great orators and saints spoke to crowds. Our visit to Greece begins in the capital of Athens. It's an intriguing blend of dramatic contrasts, old and new. Here you'll encounter both ancient ruins and modern office buildings. Although Athens may seem like one large city, it's actually a collage of small villages and neighborhoods, patched together in an urban mosaic. While it is a large city with more than 4 million people living there, you can visit most of the city's historical sites by foot. High upon the Acropolis in all its splendor sits the awe-inspiring Parthenon. Perched upon the highest spot in the city, this architectural marvel was built by a consortium of the greatest architects, builders, painters, and sculptors of their time. Known to some as the Big Olive, Athens is home to the new Olympic Stadium, built to host the revival of the modern Olympic in 1895, the House of Parliament, and the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. At the top of every hour, the changing of the guard attracts curious spectators to this colorful ceremony. From Athens, we take a cruise to Piraeus, one of the largest ports in the Mediterranean. Piraeus dates back to 3,000 years before Christ. On the cruise, you can relax or get involved in one of the many onboard activities. From Piraeus, cruise to the island of Santorini. After dropping anchor offshore, transfer to the hovering tenders circling patiently to ferry you to the legendary island of splendor and mystery. The next stop is the island of Crete, one of the largest of the Greek islands. Crete was a center of economic activity, religious influence, and political clout. Heraklion is Crete's largest city. Here the stone fortifications and narrow alleyways remind us of the days when Cretans sought safety within the confines of this heavily defended port. Next it's on to the island of Rhodes. This island has a rich lineage. The Colossus of Rhodes, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, once stood at the entrance to this harbor. On the breakwater stand 3 windmills, which once ground the grain brought to the island by merchant ships. Today the harbor is home to local fishing vessels, and small boats for hire ferry both tourists and residents to nearby islands. Now it's time to go to the country where East meets West, Turkey. Although young as nations go, history marks this land as far back as the beginning of mankind. As colorful and intricate as the patterns of a Turkish rug, Turkey is the product of many great civilizations. By conquest and defeat, and through periods of great turmoil and change, this nation has evolved into a unique blend of East and West. The capital, Istanbul, is the only city in the world which lies on 2 continents, Europe and Asia. It's separated by one of the most beautiful bodies of water in the world, the Strait of Bosphorus. With more than 12 million residents, Istanbul is adorned by modern high-rise buildings set alongside classical Turkish, Roman, and Byzantine masterpieces. The Grand Bazaar is the oldest and largest covered marketplace in the world. You can browse in over 3,000 shops, all under one roof. If you have a sense of adventure or an interest in the origins of Western civilization, Greece and Turkey may be the place for you.
When Time for Living continues, Steve Burke tells you how retirement products are changing to meet your needs and how you can take advantage. Health, finance, and more is next, so stay with us. Here's a question for you to ponder. When would you decline to take money which was available to you at retirement? The answer would be, in most cases, when I can realize a better income from the funds by leaving them where they are.
Interestingly enough, there are new products arriving in the financial world which may serve you well in retirement by addressing this issue now. Many of you are aware the move towards new and exciting money products has picked up speed, and some are now available in the marketplace. Here's Steve Burke with more information in today's Health, Finance, and More.
For a good many of you moving towards retirement or in that position, the basic need is a sufficient income which will provide money as long as you live and is secure from erosion by the economy, the market, or long life. In addition, a lot of retirees don't want the stress and time involved in the managing of their money. Ironically, many people reach the age they choose for relaxing and savoring life only to find they must now discipline themselves to manage regularly the investment of the monies they have accumulated. The financial industry has recognized this dilemma facing a large part of the population and is developing new products to respond to the situation. Today's subject touches on some of the new approaches which you may want to review with your financial advisor. Remember, not all products or strategies fit all people, but it is common sense to explore anything which could be of help now or in the future. First, in the area of annuities, many of you are unaware annuities can be responsible to ill health as well as income. Some companies today recognize that not all of us are as healthy as our peers. As a result, these annuity companies consider the health risk and underwrite that into the income payable to the annuitant. In this example, the monthly payments may very well be increased beyond what the person receiving the income would ordinarily receive. As in any case of financial income options, it's good to explore the possibilities available to you. If you have a financial condition which you believe might impact your life expectancy, you would serve yourself well to investigate the options open to you should you decide to purchase an annuity of any kind. If you presently have an annuity which you haven't reviewed for some time, it might be prudent to discuss the merit of comparing it to some of the newer policies on the market. Please note, this suggestion only applies if you're not annuitizing. If you're receiving annuity income from your annuity, it generally means there are no other options available to you, but it pays to check. Other contractual provisions which are becoming more common is the provision allowing an annuity owner to withdraw the funds without penalty should the annuitant go to a nursing home. Beyond that feature, some companies will increase the income stream being paid if the person receiving the payments has to enter a nursing home. It happens often that individuals have purchased an annuity in the past and not reviewed it at all. My advice, if some time has passed since you looked over any annuity products you have, it would be to your advantage to examine them to see how up to date they are. Don't, however, arbitrarily change what you have. Make sure you know what you have. If it seems outdated, then compare it to the newer products. But make sure to compare apples to apples and not apples to oranges. The facts should speak for themselves, and that, coupled with your sensible questions, will tell you the best path to follow. Most of us have a series of events which could happen to us and create problems, generally financial. With that in mind, the financial industry, particularly the insurance companies, have considered these exposures. In the broad sense, we all have the possibility of dying too soon. So the insurance people have fine-tuned life insurance. Before retirement, we working people can suffer a disability which stops or reduces our income. Again, there are products which respond to this. Assuming we avoid the pitfalls of dying or becoming disabled, we now face retirement and a need for income. Happily, some companies in the industry have responded to this challenge too. So you say, well, that covers it pretty well, but not so. There are three other areas which cause us discomfort or financial problems. As we pass through our working lifetimes, an occasional need for a loan can arise. After we're retired, the possibility of being disabled and confined to a nursing home is with us. Finally, sadly, some of us reach a point of large medical bills before we pass away. This can leave our loved ones in a difficult financial position. Finally, on a happier note, there's retirement and the need for income. It is a pleasure to be able to report to all of you that there is one company, soon to be followed by others I suspect, which addresses all these exposures in one policy. This type of protection is the look of the future. None of us face one potential problem, but rather a series of possibilities. The financial industry, in this case the insurance world, is working hard at having answers to our concerns. The good news is that they are rapidly developing products and strategies which allow us to deal sensibly with the financial challenges facing us in the years ahead. In this example, the coverages include life insurance, disability income, cash values, and retirement values. should certain events occur. The major thrust of this product is the flexibility to respond to financial events in your life, whatever they may be. And remember always, ask lots of questions. I'm Steve Burke. Time for Living.
If you'd like more information about retirement products or any other topic you've seen on Health, Finance, and More, then write to Time for Living, care of Health, Finance, and More, P.O. Box 8452, Boston, Massachusetts, 02114.
Or, of course, you can call us at 800-232-7213 and leave your question on our voicemail. If you prefer to fax us, our fax number is 617-329-1774. Now, when Time for Living continues, a new procedure, knocking kidney stones down to size. We'll explain when we come back. It's one of the most painful disorders to afflict human beings. Unfortunately, kidney stones will affect 10% of all Americans sometime in their life.
But there may be some relief. As Mary Norton tells us, there is a procedure that uses shock waves to break down the stones so they pass with ease.
It wasn't until his annual physical that Thomas Finn discovered he had a kidney stone.
During the annual physical, some microscopic blood showed up in my urine. I had no idea that there was any blood in my urine or anything else, so my internist sent me to a urologist.
Annual physicals play a very important part in maintaining your health, and they can often detect problems before they become too serious.
At the Bay Area Renal Stone Center in St. Petersburg, Florida, patients who have kidney stones are undergoing a procedure called shock-wave lithotripsy. This non-invasive procedure uses shock waves that pass through the water, through the body, and to the stone.
There we go. Good.
It's the pulse of the patient that trips the machine that sends the shock wave through the water.
And over a period of time, the culmination of all of these shock waves will cause a stone to disintegrate. and it changes a solid stone into many little pieces of gravel which are more easily passed.
Lithotripsy patients have a shorter recovery period than patients who have surgery, and they experience less pain.
I think the whole thing was a very, very rewarding experience, considering what the options would have been. So I'd recommend it to anybody that's going to face with the same kind of a situation I was faced with.
Detecting a kidney stone early will help make lithotripsy the right choice for you. I'm Mary Norton reporting.
I don't know which looks more painful, the problem or the solution.
Oh, God, hopefully the problem, I hope. Well, we now turn to another health concern among the older community. Hypertension, or high blood pressure, is the most frequent chronic illness experienced by older adults. In case you didn't know, the definition of high blood pressure has been based on studies which associate blood pressure valves and the risk of strokes, heart disease, kidney failure, and poor circulation.
With high blood pressure afflicting 55% of the community, dwelling adults ages 65 to 74, it's one of the most common reasons for visits to the physician. In this week's Medical Minute, Dr. Alan Abrams tells us how to prepare for a blood pressure check and the maintenance options to discuss with your primary care provider.
While high blood pressure is rarely perceived, it doesn't often cause any symptoms itself. Treating high blood pressure has been shown to reduce the likelihood of heart attacks and strokes in even your 80s and beyond. When you go for a blood pressure check, it is initially important that your blood pressure be measured accurately. This requires that, 1, you experience at least 5 minutes of quiet rest before your blood pressure is taken. Even walking around the doctor's office or climbing up onto an examination table can inadvertently raise your blood pressure. It is your resting blood pressure which is most important. 2, the blood pressure cuff must fit properly. That is up to the person taking the blood pressure. For people with larger arms, larger cuffs are needed for accurate readings. 3, you can relax in the doctor's office. White coat high blood pressure caused by nervousness can overestimate your blood pressure. Your physician can arrange for home or self-blood pressure monitoring if you get too nervous in the doctor's office. Medications for high blood pressure can be helpful, but should only be employed when other non-pharmacological treatments have been tried. These non-medicinal treatments not only save money, but reduce the chances of side effects from medication. Here are some things you could try in consultation with your primary care provider if your blood pressure is borderline, mild, or moderately high. 1, reduce your salt intake. Salt is in almost everything we eat. The older person with high blood pressure is very salt sensitive, generally speaking. Ask to consult with a registered dietitian to learn how to limit your salt intake to less than 4 grams per day. 2, maintain or attain the proper weight. Overweight older adults are more likely to develop high blood pressure. Weight reduction can eliminate the high blood pressure in addition to all its other benefits. Reduce the intake of saturated fat and cholesterol. Again, a registered dietitian can be of great help in dieting. You need to be in charge of what you ingest. 3, stop smoking. Your addiction to tobacco will ruin your blood vessels. Smoking cessation alone can reduce your high blood pressure to normal. 4, exercise regularly. Aerobic exercise of the lower extremities on a regular basis, when approved by your physician, can reduce your blood pressure as much as losing 10 pounds can. 5, eliminate alcohol. 10 to 15% of all high blood pressure is related to alcohol consumption. See what happens to your blood pressure when you go on the wagon. Stop more than a week before your next appointment and see if your blood pressure responds. 6, maintain adequate amounts of calcium, magnesium, and potassium in your diet. These elements are found in dairy products, nuts and seeds, and citrus juices, respectively. Consult with a registered dietitian for more details. 7, learn to practice a relaxation technique. Learning to sit still and really relax can reduce your blood pressure permanently. There are many relaxation techniques, from meditation to guided imagery to biofeedback. Most behavioral medicine programs can point you in the right direction. High blood pressure, if untreated, can lead to medical problems which will significantly alter your enjoyment of life. Failing kidneys, weakened hearts, and stroke-injured brains. They all interfere with our image of how we want life to be. Keep an eye on your blood pressure, modify your lifestyle with proper diet and exercise, eliminate bad habits such as drinking and smoking, and keep your later years a time for living. This is Dr. Alan Abrams with your Medical Minute.
If you'd like more information about any topics featured on Medical Minute, then you can write to Time for Living, care of Medical Minute, P.O. Box 8452, Boston, Massachusetts, 02114.
Or, of course, you can call us at 800-232-7213 and leave your question on our voicemail. If you prefer to fax us, our fax number is 617-329-1774. We'll be back with more Time for Living after these messages. In case you didn't get to write down our address and phone numbers, don't worry. We'll have that information when we return, so stay with us.
Well, now as promised, our address again is Time for Living, P.O. Box 8452, Boston, Massachusetts, 02114.
The phone numbers are 1-800-232-7213 for our voicemail and 617-329-1774 for the fax machine. So give us a call or drop us a note. We'd love to hear from you.
Well, that's it for this week, and we hope you join us again next week when we introduce you to more interesting people and places, because this show is not only for you, it's about you.
So until next week, remember, it's time for living. Take care.
Bye.